Are we really doing this? Yes. Again, I want every single person watching this video to take a deep breath, sit down, and really process what we all just witnessed. What was supposed to be a legendary, unforgettable, and deeply celebrated night in the history of women's professional basketball was completely hijacked, violently sabotaged, and ultimately ruined. The Indiana Fever just suffered a soul-crushing, agonizing, and entirely avoidable loss to the Golden State Valkyries, walking off the court with a final score of 88-90. But let me be entirely clear with you right now, and I need you to listen closely. The final score does not even begin to tell the real story of the absolute disaster we just witnessed at the Chase Center. We are talking about a night where individual greatness and historic achievements were completely overshadowed by pure incompetence, catastrophic coaching, and an officiating crew that seemed determined to steal the spotlight. Let me start with the history because the history needs to be documented, respected, and recorded even in a losing effort. Tonight, Caitlin Clark made WNBA history at the Chase Center in a way that should be headlining every major sports network on the planet. She recorded her 500th career assist in the first half of the basketball game. But it is not just about the raw number. It is about the context, the speed, and the sheer unprecedented dominance of what she is doing. By delivering that pass, Caitlin Clark officially became the fastest player in the entire history of the league to reach both 1,000 career points and 500 career assists. She did it in just 59 games. Let that massive number sink into your mind for a second. 59 games. Sue Bird, widely considered one of the greatest, most fundamentally perfect point guards to ever pick up a basketball, needed 82 games to reach that exact same milestone. Sabrina Ionescu, the walking triple-double machine, needed 84 games. Dawn Staley, a Hall of Fame legend and an icon of the sport, needed 101 games. Clark needed 59, that is 23 fewer games than the greatest point guard of her generation. It is a historic milestone that belongs in the conversation with the greatest, most unbreakable records in women's professional basketball.
For the Fever, Caitlin Clark did make history tonight. We gonna talk about it, man, in an iconic fashion. She ended up making her 500 assists to Sophie Cunningham, but the referees is still in the show. Just ultimately still in
the pace at which Clark is accumulating these milestones is mathematically unprecedented. She is the first player in WNBA history with multiple games of 30-plus points and 10-plus assists in the same season. And she is doing all of this while operating as the undisputed #1 target for every single defensive coordinator in the league. Tonight, despite the relentless, suffocating defensive pressure, she finished the game with 16 points, pulling down 4 rebounds and dishing out 6 assists. She also added 3 crucial steals to her defensive resume. But then the second half happened, and this is where the celebration tragically ends and the deep boiling frustration begins. Nobody in the mainstream media is willing to talk honestly about the referee situation that had Caitlin Clark visibly furious, shouting in disbelief and completely losing her composure on the court. And honestly, I do not blame her for a single second. Multiple times in the second half, Clark put her head down, drove aggressively into the paint, and absorbed incredibly heavy, violent contact from the Valkyries' interior defenders without getting a single foul call. She was frustrated. She was openly jawing at the officials, begging them to do their jobs and protect the players on the floor. She eventually drew a deeply controversial technical foul in the second half for her completely justifiable reaction to a blatant no call on a drive where she was clearly undisputedly hit on the arm. That single technical foul cost the Indiana Fever 2 crucial foul shots in a game that ended with a final score of 88-90. Those 2 points could have completely changed the outcome, the momentum, and the entire narrative of the evening. Clark shot a flawless, perfect 8 for 8 from the free throw line tonight, but the number of times she drove into the paint, absorbed body blows, and did not get sent to the line was clearly astronomically higher than 8. The officiating in San Francisco. Inside a deeply hostile building with the Valkyries desperately defending their home court was absolutely not consistent with the respect a player of Clark's caliber should be receiving. It is a terrifying pattern of physical neglect that has been visible since the opening night of the season, and it was documented perfectly for the whole world to see tonight. But as angry, furious, and disgusted as we are at the referees, we have to talk about the absolute buffoonery coming from the Indiana Fever sideline. We have to talk about the head coach. Stephanie White put on an absolute masterclass tonight in how to mismanage a close, highly competitive basketball game. The strategic rotations were not just confusing, they were entirely baffling and deeply destructive to the team's offensive flow.
24 fouls called on the fucking Fever tonight. Excuse my language, bro. 19 calls were now 20 on Golden State. I'm furious right now, bro, because that's how bad this game has been. Stephanie White put Caitlin on the ball. Stephanie White put Caitlin off the ball. Like, damn, Stephanie, make up your mind. Then Caitlin Clark sat majority of the damn third quarter. This was just buffoonery.
1 minute, Stephanie White has Caitlin Clark running the point guard position, dictating the pace of the offense, reading the defense and creating wide-open looks for her teammates. The next minute, she puts Caitlin completely off the ball, standing idly in the corner like a catch-and-shoot role player, watching the offense stagnate into isolation basketball. But the absolute most unforgivable, mind-boggling sin of the night was White's inexplicable decision to sit Caitlin Clark on the bench for the majority of the deeply crucial third quarter. You have the greatest, most lethal offensive engine in the world at your disposal. You have a player who just made league history and you are treating her like a secondary piece in your rotation. Because of this chaotic, broken mismanagement, Caitlin could never find her true shooting rhythm. She was forced to play cold, completely out of sync against a defense that was specifically designed to break her down. She finished the night shooting a highly uncharacteristic 3 for 12 from the field, including just 2 for 6 from behind the three-point line.
I'm hella mad. Look at this. How the hell can we win when they look at this flop? You ain't even get hit. She ain't even get hit in the head, dog. She didn't get hit in the head. Y'all see this? Bro, this has been all day. Bro.
But the coaching issues didn't stop with Caitlin Clark. If anything, they only got worse. Just take a look at the box score and the players stuck watching from the bench while the game slipped away. Grace Van Sluten, the athletic forward the Fever specifically brought in to help solve their frontcourt depth problems, never saw the floor. DNP, coach's decision. Not a single minute. Tasha Harris? DNP. Demiris Dantas? DNP. In a tough 2-point road loss, Indiana only used 9 active players while leaving several capable contributors glued to the bench. The whole point of the Fever's roster moves was to add athleticism, energy, and defensive versatility in the frontcourt, but none of that mattered because Stephanie White chose not to use those players at all, and every time the Fever lose a close game, the same questions keep coming up. Why aren't the bench players getting opportunities? Could they have changed the momentum? Could fresh legs or better defense have made the difference? Meanwhile, the Valkyries were fully committed to a physical, punishing style of defense all night long. Veronica Burton especially made life miserable for Caitlin Clark. She was constantly pressuring her, grabbing jerseys, playing extremely physical, and at times pushing the limits of what officials were allowing.
Heard. Look at this, bro.
Official review of her.
Hit her all in the face. Veronica Burton been on one all game with Caitlin Clark. All game. Veronica Burton made it her business to like disrupt Caitlin and be just an asshole all game to her, bro. I can't stunt she balled. Veronica Burton definitely.
Outside of Caitlin Clark, Indiana's offense looked completely out of sync for most of the night. Possessions felt rushed, disorganized, and frustrating to watch. Kelsey Mitchell played more than 30 minutes but finished with just 14 points on an inefficient 5 for 13 shooting performance. Time after time, she drove straight into traffic inside the paint, often forcing difficult shots instead of kicking the ball out to open teammates. The Valkyries' interior defense made her pay for it repeatedly. Sophie Cunningham, despite being on the receiving end of Clark's historic 500th career assist, also struggled to find rhythm offensively. She logged nearly 25 minutes and scored 11 points, but shot only 4 for 11 from the field and a rough 1 for 7 from three-point range. Aaliyah Boston battled hard all game long, grabbing 6 rebounds and adding 4 assists, but even she couldn't fully get comfortable offensively. Boston finished with 13 points while shooting 4 for 11 from the floor as the entire starting lineup seemed out of sync from the opening tip, but in the middle of all the frustration, poor shooting, and offensive chaos, one player stood out in a major way. One player refused to let the moment overwhelm her. That player was Raven Johnson. While much of the starting offense struggled to find consistency, Johnson came onto the court and completely changed the energy. In just over 21 minutes of action, she made every second count and delivered one of the brightest performances of the night.
Clocks, man, my goodness, man. Now I got to talk about Raven Johnson. Career game, man. 16 points, 7 to 10 from the field, just outstanding. She shot 90% from 3. Now it's a 2-point game. Come on, Kelsey Mitchell.